Hello and welcome to South Asia Focus. I am Smita Prakash in Colombo. The Indian Prime Minister visited 3 countries in the past week. He visited Seychelles, Mauritius and Sri Lanka in a bid to reinvigorate the historical relationships, the traditional ties with these countries, as well as offer new possibilities in economic cooperation and security dynamics.
Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi arrived in Seychelles on March 10th on his first bilateral visit to the picturesque island nation. Mr. Modi was received at the airport by Seychelles President James Alexis Michel and Vice President Denis Faure. Modi held bilateral talks with Michel on March 11th in a bid to strengthen maritime ties and give a boost to developmental cooperation. Ties between India and Seychelles have largely been cordial and understanding. An Indian naval ship, the INS Tarasa, was gifted to Seychelles in 2014 to enhance supervision and patrolling ability of Seychelles waters. Quite a few Indian ships have since made port calls in Victoria, the capital city of Seychelles. India's Foreign Ministry spokesperson Syed Akbaruddin said both countries were working together in the fields of renewable energy and maritime security.
So could you tell me what is the Prime Minister's engagement today?
Prime Minister begins his visit to the Indian Ocean Islands today with discussions with the President of Seychelles, and the substantive element in this discussion is a discussion on the blue economy. Also, we are both engaged in working together in the field of renewable energy. So we expect discussions to cover all these 3 elements: blue economy, maritime security and renewable energy.
Akbaruddin further said that maritime neighbours needed to meet, cooperate and help out often, as India has a deep and historical connection with the island nations in the Indian Ocean. In 2009, at the request of Seychelles, India had sent naval ships to guard its restricted economic zone and safeguard it against piracy. India has even assisted the Seychelles armed forces in capacity building. After a meeting with President Michel, Prime Minister Modi said that climate change was also a major threat to the island nations.
Climate change से उतनी ही चिंता करनी पड़ेगी जितनी आज विश्व टेररिज्म की चर्चा करता है। जितना संकट आतंकवाद से नजर आता है, गहरा लगता है, उतना ही इन छोटे-छोटे आइलैंड पर रहने वाले लोगों के लिए क्लाइमेट चेंज के कारण संकट महसूस होता है। आज से 100 साल बाद आपके बच्चे होंगे, बच्चों के बच्चे होंगे, बच्चों के बच्चे होंगे, उनको पानी मिलेगा कि नहीं मिलेगा? उनको शुद्ध हवा मिलेगी कि नहीं मिलेगी? उनको रहने के लिए अच्छी पृथ्वी मिलेगी कि नहीं मिलेगी? हमें उनको वो विरासत में देकर के जाना है, तो हमें आज अपनी जिंदगी को बदलना पड़ेगा।
Mr. Modi later also launched a coastal surveillance radar project, describing it as another symbol of cooperation between India and Seychelles. From Seychelles, Mr. Modi landed at the Sir Sivu Sagar Ramgoolam Airport in Port Louis, Mauritius, and called on Mauritius President Rajkeshwar Puriag. He later met Prime Minister Anirudh Jagannath and pledged a concessional line of credit of $500 million for civil infrastructure projects in Mauritius. Mr. Modi said both leaders had discussed the shared interests of their countries in the Indian Ocean region.
The outcomes and decisions today are truly significant. We discuss our shared interests in a safe and secure Indian Ocean and a stable and prosperous Indian Ocean region. We value the leadership by Mauritius in this area. Today, I was pleased to offer a concessional line of credit of $500 million for civil infrastructure projects for Mauritius. Of the media. Today, we have offered support for construction of the second cyber city. Our agreement today on the development of Agalega Island is a major stride in our cooperation in infrastructure sector.
The two countries signed 5 agreements, including ones on traditional medicine and homeopathy, cultural cooperation and ocean economy. Mauritian Prime Minister Narendra spoke about India's support to Mauritius to develop connectivity with its southern islands during his joint statement with the Indian Prime Minister. Subsequently, Prime Minister Modi visited the Ganga Talao or Grand Basin to offer prayers. The Ganga Talao is one of the most sacred Hindu places of worship in Mauritius. The Prime Minister was welcomed by priests where he poured holy water on Shiv Linga, a symbol of Lord Shiva. Mr. Modi pledged support for constructing a second cyber city in Mauritius while addressing the country's National Assembly in Port Louis.
Prime Minister Modi has supported the construction of the first cyber city in Mauritius in 2003. That became a symbol of our thriving economic partnership. I am pleased to announce our support for a second cyber city in Mauritius. Last year, we had democratic transition in both countries. There are two things that are similar to both. After a long time, a single party won absolute majority in both countries.
Modi also commissioned an Indian-built offshore patrol vessel, MGCS Barracuda, for Mauritius. The 1,300-ton vessel Barracuda, commissioned for the Mauritian National Coast Guard in the middle of Chinese attempts to find a foothold in the Indian Ocean region, marks the first of such sails to the strategically located island nation. The Barracuda has an automatic 30mm rapid-fire gun and 12.7mm heavy machine guns as part of its ammunition.
After his visit to Seychelles and Mauritius, the Indian Prime Minister arrived here in Colombo, Sri Lanka. President Sirisena pulled out all stops to present a ceremonial welcome, which Colombo hasn't seen for a long time. After all, the Indian Prime Minister was visiting here after nearly 3 decades, Rajiv Gandhi being the last Indian Prime Minister to have made a bilateral visit out here.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi arrived in Sri Lanka in the final stretch of his 3-nation tour and was welcomed by President Maithripala Sirisena. Speaking after meeting Sirisena, Modi announced that the state-run Ceylon Petroleum Corporation or CPC and the local subsidiary of Indian Oil Corporation will develop a strategic oil storage facility in Trincomalee.
We are also focusing on new opportunities. Today, Lanka, IOC and Ceylon Petroleum Corporation have agreed to joint development the upper tank farm of the China Bay installation in the Trincomalee on mutually agreed terms. A joint task force will be constituted soon to work out the modalities. India stands ready to help Trincomalee become a regional petroleum hub. The Reserve Bank of India and the Central Bank of Sri Lanka have agreed to enter into a currency swap agreement of $1.5 billion. This will help keep the Sri Lankan rupees stable.
President Sirisena said that Modi's visit to the northern part of the country, which was badly affected by an ethnic war with the Liberation Tigers of Tamil Eelam or LTTE, would be significant.
එතුමා අදත් හෙටත් අපේ රට තුල විවිධ ප්‍රදේශවල සංචාරය කරනවා. විශේෂයෙන්ම අදාවස පාර්ලිමේන්තුවට එතුමා සැපත් වීමත් ඒ වගේම හෙට අනුරාධපුරයේ ශ්‍රීමා බෝධීන් වහන්සේ වැඳ පුදා ගැනීමත් ඒ වගේම උතුරේ සංචාරයත් මම දකින්නේ ඓතිහාසික අවස්ථාවන් ලෙසයි. අපි එතුමාට කළ හැකි උසස්ම ගෞරවයක් ලෙස තමයි.
Mr. Modi later paid his respects at the Indian Peacekeeping Force Memorial in Colombo. The IPKF Memorial was built in 2008. Peacekeeping forces from India were sent to Sri Lanka between 1987 and 1990 as part of the Indo-Sri Lanka Accord 1987, which aimed to end the civil war between Liberation of Tigers of Tamil Eelam and the country's army. Modi also visited northern Jaffna Peninsula to launch a housing complex which is funded by the Indian government in this former war zone where LTTE militants fought for a separate state for more than 2 decades.
The Indian Prime Minister's 3-nation 5-day tour is an opportunity for India to rebuild and reinvigorate relationship with the Indian Ocean region, with countries of the Indian Ocean region, something that it has neglected for years. India seeking to play a leadership role not just in South Asia but in the larger field of the Indian Ocean region also. We shall be bringing you more on this in the coming weeks. Thank you for watching South Asia Focus. I am Smita Prakash, signing off from Colombo.